Obviously, we're happy with the win. We want to, get a win at home. We want to move out of the basement. That was our objective for today, so we've accomplished those goals. Uh, I think we made it a little scarier than it needed to be at the end. I thought the first 15 minutes they were better than us. We were way too loose, but then after that, as we pressed the tempo a little bit, it was better. Then we had some really good looks on goal. Sometimes you ask yourself, why did those not go in? The Ivanchits one, the Hercules one, Jordan had one earlier. I think Clint had an opportunity as well. So you're looking at those opportunities and saying, hey, if one more could have gone in, the dam could have broken. But it didn't. We were probably, I'd say, a little nervous at the end. But at the end of the day, we won the game, and that's going to help us for the next time.
If you have a question again, just please raise your hand. We'll turn it over to Matt Pence.
Can you explain the thinking behind your second half substitutions? First, putting on Herc as a sort of a fourth forward in a way, and then also putting in Joven for Jordan later on?
How did we put on Herc as a fourth forward? Can you explain that one to me?
As, well, four potential forwards if you look at the guys that are on the field: Clint, Jordan, Nelson, and then also Hercules, obviously not lining up as four forwards.
Well, I thought we had brought Ivanchits back in the midfield because we had taken Roldan out. So we asked Ivanchits to play in Roldan's role, so we were still at three forwards. So it hadn't become four forwards. It's just Hercules stepped into that role. And we brought on Joven at the end on the left-hand side because we want to move Herc over to the other side of the field. So we made that change. Those are the reasons for that.
Andrew?
The team kind of looked to recapture some of that one-touch schoolyard freestyle that they had going during long stretches of last season. What contributed to that style coming back?
We just talked about, trying to get behind the defense more. We talked about, trying to use the speed that Jordan and Olix provide for us, and to exploit that. We felt they played a high line that we could use our pace to get behind them. We wanted Clint to stay higher up. So maybe at times it even looked more like a 4-4-2 sometimes, gave them a little bit of a numerical advantage in the middle of midfield. But different people would take turns in there and the outside backs would pinch in a little bit. So it was mainly trying to take advantage of our qualities versus the quality we thought they had.
Masvida?
Yeah, bring it, the goal, another corner kick, header.
Ivanchits. I mean, obviously he helps us an awful lot on set pieces, in his service. I didn't think his service was, very good last week. He'll be the first one to admit that, but his service was much better this week at practice, and it's great to see him rewarded. The guys did a good job running inside, to free Marshall up at the back post, and then the ball was there, and normally they have a guy on each post, and they didn't, and became a good goal for Chad. So I'm happy for him. I think that's two for Chad now. Yeah, I told him when he scored the first one, I said, well, let's try and get 5-6 this year. That's the same as when we won the Cup in Columbus.
Nick Patterson?
Yeah, so how nice is it to see Jordan Morris get his first goal?
I'm sure he feels more relieved than I do. So I'm sure he's very, very happy to have gotten the goal. I know he had a couple of really good looks in the first half. That maybe how can I say, a striker who's got his full confidence maybe even pulls the trigger on one or two of those instead of trying to lay it across to somebody else. They might pull the trigger and try and score it themselves. But right now he's still searching for that. So, he had one other one that bobbled up that he didn't quite finish. And then this one he was able to finish. So I think it's great for him. It's great for the city. It's great for our team.
Nick Forshaw?
What did you see from Olex in his first start, and do you live up to expectations?
Well, like I said, Olix is just, he's just wonderfully unpredictable. So his speed presented issues and problems, and he got behind their defense at certain times. And there's times where it's a simple thing and it doesn't come off, and then there's times it's a complicated thing and it does come off. But he's certainly a player who I thought in his 60 minutes posed a threat for the opponent, and somebody that the opponent ended up having to say, well, wait a second, I gotta be cautious here, because if I make a misstep, I'm not going to catch this guy again. And so that's always a great quality to have.
Spencer?
Yeah, in a season with a lot of controversial fouls and yellows and reds, did you get a good look at Albert's 2 yellow cards?
Yeah, the first one, I'm trying to remember it exactly. Is the first one the one where he pulled a guy, or what did he do on that one? Something like that. But there was another one I thought where he took a swing and nothing happened, and I thought the rule says strike or attempt to strike. The tackle, it sounded like, I don't know if he hit Roldan's shin guard or what, but there was definite crack when he went in for that tackle, and so we were really concerned. We thought that Roldan might have, I just heard a crack a few days ago, so we were concerned that he might have broken his leg. It turned out, that was not the case, although we still have to look at it. He's a pretty tough kid, so I think that was definitely a second yellow.
Art?
Do you think it might be just beneficial from just a psychological standpoint for Morris to just get that first one out of the way, and now do you think we might see the dam break a little bit?
Yeah, it's always beneficial. I mean, you can't score your second one until you get your first one, and so you need to get that first one to get that out of the way. He's going to be a lot more confident. There's a big weight off his shoulder. That weight each week, probably there was another 5 pounds that got added to that. So by now, there's about 50, 60 pounds. So you eliminate those 50, 60 pounds, you can run a lot lighter next week.
Follow-ups? Matt?
You said that Jordan probably feels more relieved than you do. Is that just you sort of understanding that he was eventually going to break through, or what did you exactly mean by that?
Yeah, when you've been around, for a longer time, you know that it's going to happen. It's just not happening now, and you learn to be patient. And when you're young, you're not very patient. You want it to be yesterday that it happened, not tomorrow. And so for him, I'm sure that, youth caused some impatience and put some angst into him and anxiety, but, getting the goal tonight was the tonic that he needed.
Coach, how do you think Dylan Remick did tonight, and what factored into the decision to start him over Jovan Jones?
I wanted more out of Jovan last week than I felt I got. I thought Dylan, I had done all right the week before when we played against Montreal, so I wanted to give Dylan another go. I've always said we've got competition at positions. Outside back, we've got capable guys there. Fisher showed, even though he's only played 45 minutes, that he's a capable player, that he can play there and step in. And I'm confident in Remick being able to step in, And I thought his performance was okay. Early in the game, he was the same as everybody else. He was giving away too much space. But after that, he got better and he got tighter.
Coach, another quick concession after scoring. What has to happen with the back line or the midfield to not give up those?
Yeah, it wasn't. How many minutes was it?
2.
2? Yeah, well, I'm sorry, that's no good. It was just, especially being a man up, it was a cross that you could see coming. 2 defenders went to Sapong, and they leave Seba open. And it's that little bit of and you can't say it's miscommunication because they can't hear each other sometimes that well with the crowd and everything else going on, but it's got to be better understanding, so it's like, okay, he's going to challenge here, so I got to go here, because if he doesn't win it, if he wins it, me being next to him and challenging as well is not going to make a difference. And unless I'm close enough to bump the guy, then I don't need to challenge as well. So then I got to make sure I find who that guy can lay it off to. So it's recognition.
The passing in the middle, it looked like it was purposeful, intentional, and possessive. Can you talk a little bit? Is that something you guys talked about, or are you happy to see that?
Yeah, I think we probably had a lower percentage completion than we normally do, and we certainly had less of the ball, I think, than sometimes we normally do. But on the same token, we wanted to be a little more direct. We talked about our 2 midfielders, Alonso and Roldan, looking to play the ball forward more, looking to play the ball forward a little quicker. And we wanted Clint to stay higher and get the ball into him and for him to spring those guys. So I think we were more direct in our style of play today.